I'm Jessica Anne Pressler, and you've tuned into Your Traitor Within, a podcast that exposes the brutal truths of healing, self discovery, and breaking free from relentless patterns of self sabotage. Welcome back to Your Traitor Within. My guest today, a conservative dating and confidence coach who's shaking up the modern dating scene. She teaches women how to stop settling, stop chasing, and stop abandoning their feminine energy. Known for her spicy takes, her viral content, and those signature masterclasses, Terri is on a mission to redefine what healthy, magnetic femininity looks like. But here's why I wanted Terri on this podcast. So many of us have a traitor within that sabotages our dating lives and keeps us stuck in relationships that don't serve us. That inner voice that tells us we're too much or not enough, that convinces us to chase people who aren't choosing us, or that keeps us settling for crumbs when we deserve the whole damn meal. Today, we're going to explore how your traitor within affects your dating choices, how it keeps you in unhealthy relationships, and what it takes to silence that voice and make decisions that actually honor who you are. And today, Terri will also share her story to help us understand the traitor within. Terri, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to chat today.
I am so excited to have you. I started following you, looking at what you do, and so excited for what you do. And since my traitor within came in to my romantic relationships for sure, I was the one who always wanted to be chosen. I didn't make choices myself. And it just played out in so many ways. I really thought that I was not alone, that other people have that traitor within that does not help them choose correctly. And when they're in relationships, let's just say it looks healthy when it starts. And when they're in those relationships, it turns not healthy. And they can't get out. So I really thought this would be interesting. So I want to hear about you. I want to hear about your traitor within. You're willing to share that. And I want to hear about what you do and your take on that, on the traitor within.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll give you a little rundown, kind of long story short of my story and my journey and what got me into doing what I do. Ultimately, I grew up in utter chaos. So I grew up in extreme poverty, living off of food stamps. We were homeless at one point. We lost our family home in the 2008 recession. I had an older sister who was an addict, so that added another level of complexity and chaos into our home. And then on top of that, I had extremely unavailable father that just didn't show up, wasn't home most of the time. Um, and a mom that was tapped out. Like she was exhausted, she was tapped out, she was doing the best she could, but she didn't have the capacity to show up for me the way a mom should show up for a child. Um, I moved out at 13. And so
Wow.
all of this kind of created this cocktail or concoction, you can say, which you could call it, creating all this wounding. You could call it creating different traders within, um, whatever that looks like. For myself and for my coaching, the way that I refer this is that it really forced me into my masculine energy. Because when you're so young and you're forced to be hyper independent and in survival mode and take care of yourself, and you don't have parental beings that necessarily show up for you, you're shown that, hey, I got to take care of myself. No one else is coming in to take care of me. I got to take care of myself. And so what that results in, and this is often what I work with clients, is that hyper independence, that
Mhm.
refusal of help, right? That guardedness. And so
Mhm.
all of this is that masculine energy, but you put up this guard, you put up this wall, you push people away, you're emotionally unavailable because it's more it's unsafe to feel these emotions because you never felt safe to feel them growing up. You had to deal with your business, right?
Every- Mhm.
So I would say, kind of bringing it back to that trader within, I would say how that showed up in my life, in my dating life, was while I was deeply in my masculine energy. So hyper independent, survival mode, chaos. My life was always chaos, and extremely emotionally unavailable. So I was attracting men that were extremely emotionally unavailable. I was
Mhm.
attracting men that were on the opposite side of the spectrum, meaning that they were in their feminine energy. They were passive, right?
Mhm.
Because with the polarity, It's like two ends of the battery. It's like if you put two ends of the same side of the battery together, they're going to repel each other. So I was in my masculine. Of course, I was attracting passive feminine men. They're not going to step up. They're not going to fight for you. They're not going to go to war for you, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And we're seeing this polarity shift more and more and more in modern day dating, right? And it has to do with societal norms, the society pushing for women to be hyper independent, women to pursue careers over family, and which there's nothing wrong with that, but it's when that's the full focus, we kind of have this like man hating mentality in society right now. Anyways, I digress. That's a whole other topic. Um, so that's kind of how that showed up in my dating life. I was consistently choosing men that were either very wounded,
Mm-hmm.
or I was chasing men that weren't really choosing me. They were deeply unavailable and I was chasing them and I didn't really see my self-worth. I didn't see my self-worth and I struggled to be authentic. I really struggled to be myself and step into my authenticity. And therefore, I was attracting people that liked me for a fake version of myself because I wasn't showing up authentic.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say that that's kind of the biggest way my traitor within showed up in my dating life.
Mm-hmm. And so when was the aha moment? When was the aha moment that you said this is not healthy and made changes?
Yeah, that's a good question. So, I mean, this pattern repeated itself for a long time,
Mm-hmm.
over and over and over, as it does in dating. Um, and I got really sick of it. I got really fed up and sick of it. And I was looking around at other women around me that were in beautiful, devoted relationships with men that really showed up for them and wanted to take care of them, wanted to provide, protect, pursue all this beautiful stuff I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And I got so sick of it. And I was wondering, at first, and I'll be honest, Jessica, at first, it came from a place of total victim mentality. I was like, why not me? What is wrong with me?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Why all these other women and why not me? I
Mm-hmm.
feel like I'm not doing anything wrong. The men are all wrong. They're all doing stuff wrong, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's no blame or shame if anyone listening to this is stuck in that place of like, oh, all men suck. I'm not the problem, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't till I actually took accountability and took ownership and went, okay, maybe I do actually play a part in my story.
Well, you can't make change if you
Yeah.
don't take that. That's where, the traitor within is a tool because it's never blaming. It's never about self-blame. Let's say you're in an abusive relationship. It's not about blaming yourself for the abuse, but you can't empower yourself to do anything to make change if you can't see the part that you are playing, not in the abuse, but
Yeah.
in staying, let's say.
Yeah. Yeah. So ultimately, yeah, I got really sick of it. I got very, very clear in my dating journey that I was looking for my husband. I want kids, right? I was looking for my husband. I wanted kids. And I was done with all this casual stuff. I was done with feeling used and sick of being stuck in that same place, right? So I went on a journey to really heal the wounds and the trauma that was holding me back. I went
Mhm.
on a journey to really step into my feminine energy so I could attract the kind of man I wanted to attract.
Mhm.
Um, and as I did this, I started attracting completely different men, started
Mhm.
having a very different relationship with dating. I used to think dating sucks and dating apps suck and this
Mhm.
and that and have all these negative thoughts. And as I started stepping into my feminine energy, but also shifting my mentality around dating, right?
Mhm.
And shifting my mentality around men. Like, the people that know me prior to meeting my man, I remember them kind of thinking I was a little crazy and woo-woo. But
Mhm.
I would go around literally shouting, I love men so much. I love
Mhm.
men so much. When I
Mhm.
would drive past a construction site, I would go, wow, I love men so much. Thank you so much for what you do. I would not want to be working out in the cold on this
Mhm.
construction site,
Mhm. Mhm.
right? And so increasing that like immense gratitude and love for men.
Mhm.
Um, and really working on my own beliefs, my own trauma, my subconscious beliefs, and
Mhm.
stepping into my feminine energy, which attracted the right kinds of men into my life. And then from there, I could just filter based on values, lifestyle, beliefs, all that stuff. And ultimately, at the end of the day, I met the man of my dreams, and the rest is history there.
Yay.
Yeah, that's kind of what shifted.
So, but let's talk a little bit about doing the work. So, I would assume, but you can tell me I'm wrong, that people need to do some work before they get to this place. What would you recommend? If someone came to you and said, I need to make a change, I keep attracting the wrong man, I'm unhappy, somewhere where you were, what would your recommendation be to them?
Yeah, absolutely. So I would say, and this is kind of a controversial take, I would say 9 times out of 10, the women that come to me, and if I'm being honest, Jessica, it's actually 10 times out of 10, but I'm just giving a little wiggle room. Okay. So let's say 9 times out of 10, the women that come to me to come and get help with their dating life, what is going on is they're in their masculine energy. And it
Mm-hmm.
shows up in many different ways. And we can use the term masculine energy, or you can use the term trauma or whatever, like however you want to verbalize it, right? I know it's got a nuance nowadays with societal norms. But the thing is most women are approaching dating from a very guarded and wounded place.
Mm-hmm.
They're approaching dating from their wounds. Like they're dating from their anxious attachment style or from their avoidant attachment style, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I mean, obviously the first things first, is if you're struggling and you're in this cycle, I would say get a coach, right?
Mm-hmm.
Get a
Mm-hmm.
coach and work with someone to heal this stuff. Secondly, I would say that awareness is key. And I'm sure you've realized this working with clients, Jessica, that they'll come to you and they aren't even really, really aware of their wounds or what's blocking them or keeping them stuck.
Mm-hmm.
And so the first step is bringing awareness to the subconscious beliefs, bringing awareness to why that shows up and
Mm-hmm.
where that's showing up in your life, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Secondly is working on shifting it. It's a hard thing though, because it's wired deep. It's wired in
Mm-hmm.
our core. But really working on shifting that and replacing it with a story that serves you.
Mm-hmm.
And then lastly, and I like to say that this is the most important part of the journey, is taking action against your subconscious beliefs, right?
Mm-hmm.
So say
Mm-hmm.
you have a limiting belief that I'll use an example. I have a client that I'm working with right now. She is terrified to be seen, right?
Mm-hmm.
Terrified to be seen. And she's got this wall up, this guard up. It's in her masculine energy. She's so scared to be seen. Um, And that's a big thing in dating, right? Because if you're scared to be seen, you're not going to go out on dates and you're not going to be authentic. You're not going to be yourself, which is not going to attract the right kinds of people.
And vulnerability is what how you become intimate. I mean, emotionally intimate. So to get to that
Yeah.
next level, you need to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And so obviously we're working on the subconscious part of that and the mental part of that for sure and believing different thoughts and stories. But the bigger part is actually having her go out and be seen, even
Hmm.
though it's scary, even
Hmm.
though she kind of wants to crap her pants every time she does it.
Hmm.
But having her go on dates and be seen, and then realizing and regulating her nervous system through that, and
Right.
realizing I am safe. I am safe to be
Right.
seen. I'm not going to die. The world's not going to end, right?
Right.
That's where the shifts and changes happen.
Right.
It's not in thinking about it. It's in doing
Hmm.
it,
Hmm.
right?
So it's like a mixture, a little bit of behavioral modification with cognitive therapy, with somatic work, with because it's triggers that you
Yeah.
together a whole bunch of different, you know.
Exactly. Exactly. It's yeah, it's all of it. It's all of it. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, because so she goes on these dates. Does she have you as support? Like, does she call you? What happens when
Yeah,
she's
of course.
triggered? Did you teach her like breathing? Like what's it look like for her to go on a
Yeah.
date?
Yeah. Yeah, my clients have lots of support from me, so she can reach out to me right after she goes on this date. And so, yeah, it looks like practicing. It looks like giving her tools to regulate through. So, maybe doing some breath work, some meditation beforehand, doing
Mm-hmm.
some feminine energy exercises. So she's soft and she's open on this date
Hmm.
rather than closed off and guarded. Um, and and then consistently reminding her that her body is safe, her nervous system's safe on this date. And maybe in the first date, um, she doesn't feel so comfortable to be fully herself, right?
Hmm.
Maybe she doesn't. And that first date, the purpose of it is simply to show up and regulate through, right?
Mm, mm, mm-hmm,
Show up and regulate through and
mm-hmm,
just remind your body that you're safe and make it feel safe. And
mm-hmm,
then maybe you go on another date with another guy and
mm-hmm,
and then you feel comfortable maybe saying something that you're passionate about, right? And
mm-hmm,
it's a slow evolution. It's not a 0 to 100. It's a slow evolution of retraining your nervous system as to what's safe and what's not safe. Because at some point in her life, she was told and shown that it's not safe to be fully her. It's not safe to be seen. And
mm-hmm,
so we're retraining that so that she can fully show up authentically, right?
mm-hmm. I love it. I love what you're doing. So you help them become safe and authentic, to be authentic. You help them deal with their triggers. You help them become have more feminine energy, not
Yeah.
be standoffish so the guys aren't, and to attract what's good for them. Do you help them find dates too?
No, I don't. I mean, I guess in a sense I do. Like I absolutely help them set up dating profiles.
Okay.
Um, and my clients can send me screenshots of messages. They can send me screenshots of profiles, their profiles. Like I will help them to the nth degree with their dating profile.
Mhm.
And maybe coming brainstorming and coming up with places where they can put themselves to find dates, right?
Mm.
Um, but I am not like a matchmaker, if
Mhm.
that's what you mean. I'm not a matchmaker, so I'm not going out and finding men to put them
Mm.
on dates with.
And you stay with them through the dating process
Yeah.
if they need you to, because you're not just setting them up to do it, but you're sticking around and guiding them through this. Do they ever come to you and say, because I know even with my own dating, but I think for most people in the beginning, you don't really know what the other person's thinking. You're very nervous. It creates anxiety. They don't call for 3 days. Oh, they just, and do you help them deal with those triggers too? Because it could be abandonment issue. I mean, all kinds of stuff could be brought up, previous wounds.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it's the same thing. It's really the same thing. So, you know, say, um, say I have a client who's dealing with abandonment wounds, right? And a guy doesn't text back or
Hmm.
doesn't text back till the next day or something like that. And that's feeling really triggered.
Hmm.
And maybe that client is feeling like, oh, I want to chase, I want to send multiple texts. Or
Hmm.
the opposite, I want to ghost and I want to run away and save myself and protect myself and I want to run away,
Hmm.
right?
Yes.
So again, it's helping them regulate through that
Hmm.
with different exercises like breath work, like continually reminding your nervous system that you're safe, and then choosing the action that's in alignment with where you're going rather than what action your triggered nervous system wants to make,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yes, I love what you're doing. I use it, therapy with couples because you teach them. I use it individually, but I never thought about just thinking the dating it's so triggering for people because
Yeah.
again, I think many of our wounds, early wounds are triggered in intimate relationships or attempting to have an intimate relationship. So what a wonderful place for you to have chosen to help people.
Yeah.
So let's go back a little bit to you again. So you came from your childhood wounds and how you were putting yourself out there to finding your man.
Yeah.
And how did you know it was right? How did you know that you were at a place where you could find the right one? And how did you know this person was the right one?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I had done a lot of work on myself. I had been, from the time that I had that aha moment of like, okay, I am part of the issue here. I need to take some accountability and do some work on myself so I can attract the right person into my life, right? And I'll tell you, Jessica, what happened with that aha moment actually, because it wasn't just like one day I woke up and there was a light bulb, right? It
Mhm.
was actually more of like a breakdown to a breakthrough moment.
Mhm.
I had hit rock bottom. Okay. So I was dating this guy, and he was not a good fit for me, really not a good fit for me.
Mhm.
He didn't want anything to do with me. I was very much so chasing him, trying to prove my worth,
Mhm.
and have him fit the mold in my life,
Mhm.
which he wasn't, right?
Mhm.
I ended up actually getting pregnant, with this man. And
Mhm.
he did not want to keep this baby. And I was at a stage in my life where like there was no chance I could have this baby alone. Um,
Mhm.
I was pretty young at that point, and I ultimately made the choice to get an abortion, which was a really, really, really hard choice to make because even at that point, I think I was 19. Um, Even at that point, I knew deep down I very much so want to be a mother, right?
Mhm.
And I'm so excited to be a mom one day. And so it broke my heart to make this decision. While I think it was the best decision for me to make at the time, it broke my heart.
Of course.
And in that same series or same sequence of time, I was partying a lot. I had nearly gotten a DUI at this time. And so and I had lost my job and lost a bunch of friends. And it
Oh,
was
wow.
just like, it was a big kind of rock bottom time for me.
Yes.
And so it made me realize, it made me realize, I do want to have kids. I really, really want to have kids and I want to be a mom one day. And I had said to myself, this is not the track record to be on. I am, ultimately hitting a rock bottom right now. I need to better my life so that when I'm ready to have kids, I am the most beautiful version of myself and I'm
Mhm.
attracting the right man into my life in
Mhm.
order to um, have an amazing family, right?
Mhm.
So I say pivotal moment, but like it was a rock bottom moment that made me have this realization, which it often is, right?
Yes.
Um, and so really, Jessica, I'm forgetting what your question was now.
Um, what made you, well, how you got to that moment of the aha to
Mhm.
finding the man.
Right. Okay. So the
So,
connections.
mhm.
So yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, it was many years. So it was like I said, that rock bottom when I was 19. I worked on myself for a solid 7 years, kind of dated, went through some more repeated cycles, dated for a few years, and went through more repeated cycles. Really worked on my communication. I was the most avoidant, unavailable person out there, um,
With men or with everybody?
with everybody.
You're just protecting yourself, but
Yeah.
yeah.
I was protecting myself. I had lived with my older sister. We have a beautiful relationship now, and we've both worked on ourselves so much and healed so much. But when I was younger, when I was in my teen years, I had lived with her,
Mhm.
and she was extremely reactive and verbally abusive. And ultimately, what that did was it taught me that the communication style that's safe is to shut down, is to be quiet, is to keep myself small and not speak up. And so that I brought that into every area of my life, into dating, into everything.
Well, so part of the traitor within, just so you know, and I think you do know, but is that when you are younger, and younger could be with your sister, it doesn't have to be with you learn to cope to keep yourself safe. So you cope, you learn to be small, you learn to, and then you take that which served you, what you needed to do when you were younger or in a previous relationship, and you take it into other ones, and it does not serve you well.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Um, so I started recognizing patterns like that,
Mhm.
and doing exactly what I do with my clients now. I used to do this with my sister when I was, in my early 20s. I would practice just regulating through sitting in a conversation rather
Mhm.
than running away.
Mhm.
Right? And then I would practice verbalizing and voicing myself. I would
Mhm.
practice making my voice heard and seen, even though it felt so unsafe. And so
So
do
you're rewiring your brain. At a
exactly.
very young, I mean, I have to say, I mean, I think you're still young. I mean, you're very much
Yeah,
younger, you've done this work very young.
yeah,
And I think it's amazing that you had
yeah,
that insight.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, I definitely started at a young age. And so, yeah, I had done a lot of work on myself for about 7 years or so, doing
Mhm.
exactly that, regulating through, noticing a belief, a pattern that pops up and go, okay, how can I navigate this? How can I take action against it and just regulate through as I take action? Maybe I didn't feel worthy of being friends with someone and I go, okay, I'm gonna still take action. I'm still gonna go on that coffee date and be friends with them Just going to regulate through, even though I don't feel worthy or I feel like they're above me or whatever it might be, right? And so continued to do that. And then about 4 years or so prior to meeting my man, I hadn't been in a relationship. I was actively dating, but I hadn't been in a relationship. Um, and yeah, I was actively dating. I was stepping radically into myself, into my authenticity, um, going on dates, setting clear boundaries, and really, really practicing setting clear boundaries, standards, expectations. Um, and filtering men, right? So I think I don't know if that answers your question, long story short, but it wasn't just a quick overnight thing. It definitely took a few years of work and figuring out how to get there. Because I didn't work with a coach that expedited that journey for me. So I'm glad I can do that for my clients now.
So you take all that you've learned through your longer journey and you help them quicker because you've done the work. You've done the work to
Exactly.
learn in the process.
Exactly.
Mhm. And then how did you know he was the one?
Oh, right. That was your other question. Yeah.
Mhm.
So I think a big thing, well, the big thing is that like what I work with my clients on is how important it is to know your core values, your non-negotiables, all of this stuff.
Mhm.
So he obviously hit the mark in all of those areas. On
Mhm.
top of this, there was a level of me feeling so comfortable to be radically myself around him. And
Mhm.
not just the goofy, silly parts of me, but the messy parts of me. The like parts of
Mhm.
me that are not attractive to some people,
Mhm.
right? The parts of me that are still wounded and
Mhm.
still need healing and still need to be held.
Mhm.
Um, and I used to hold a lot of shame around my upbringing and my past and my childhood. And I convinced myself that I ultimately was broken and that, I would only be able to be with a wounded man because a wounded man would get it, right? Like he would understand.
Mhm.
Um, and so I had to get to a point where like I had no shame around my past. I feel really comfortable around
Mhm.
it. It's a point that I've grown from and whatnot. And on my podcast, my first episode is my story. It's basically diving into my journey, a
Mhm.
longer version of it, right? And he had listened to it early on into us dating and basically reached out and kind of said, like, I had no idea. I had no idea you hold yourself so well. I had no idea you had been through that, right? And just watching him show up for me and not treat me any differently, like show
Mhm.
up for
Because
me.
now he had the whole story and
Oh,
he's
yeah, the
still
whole
showing
story.
up and
He's
he's
still showing up,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Um, and there's a big level of comfortability, right? A massive
Mhm.
level of comfortability. So
Mhm.
I would say that's a big part is like, yes, he checked the boxes, of course,
Mhm.
but then also it was this incredible piece of comfort. I
Mhm.
felt incredibly comfortable around him and safe with him.
Safe. I think that's safe. Yeah. And safe enough to be you,
Yeah.
be vulnerable, to expose yourself, and to know that it's going to be okay, that he's going to not run or not judge or not any.
Yeah, 100%. So I would say that that's what it was.
So another reason why it's so important to have you there by someone's side when they're dating is sometimes we just get bad information from people who love us. Sometimes our friends are telling us things that are just not helpful. And I don't want to, they come from a good place, but they have their own traitor within. They have their own past, their own wounds, their own ideas of right and wrong and advice. And they come to you again, probably with very good intentions, but not necessarily good at giving good advice. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I 100% agree with you, and I hear this all the time um from clients. So I have an example, but the first thing I would say is like you would never take financial advice from a homeless man sitting on the street, right? And so
Mhm.
the same goes for your dating life and your relationships. Don't ever take advice from someone who does not have what you want. I am
Mhm.
very dogmatic about I don't think you should be taking advice from anyone in any field that doesn't have what you want, right? You should
Mhm.
have specific people in every field of life. So money, someone who gives you money advice and they have what you want, right?
Mm-hmm.
Relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Someone who has the relationship that you want, that
Mm-hmm.
beautiful, amazing relationship, you can get advice from them.
Mm-hmm.
Business or, all different areas, right? You should have people in these different areas and it doesn't cross over. You don't get money advice from your relationship person. You don't get relationship advice from your money person.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm very, very dogmatic about that. I think that that's a big issue is people are too willy-nilly about who they take advice from,
Mm-hmm.
their best friend, their boyfriend, yada, 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 right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, and so, yeah, like I have had clients come to me and they go, so specifically I'm thinking of this one client and she lives in Victoria and I used to live in Victoria. I don't know if you're
Mm-hmm.
familiar. Are you from the US, Jessica?
Yes, but Canada, Victoria's in Canada, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And so
Mm-hmm.
yeah, Victoria is in BC
Oh,
near
right.
Vancouver. It's just
Yeah.
across, it's the island. And BC is notorious for having a lot of kind of like surfer dudes, um,
Mm-hmm.
generally more like passive men.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but there's still a lot of amazing men out there. It's
Mm-hmm.
just, I would say, per capita, a much lower rate of like masculine men out there compared to a place like Alberta and Saskatchewan, where it's like farming
Interesting.
and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. And I'm sure you see that in the States as well. What you find, and this is an interesting thing, I'm going a little off topic here, but what you find with islands and places that are surrounded by water, you're going to find a lot more passive feminine men compared
Mm-hmm.
to places that are not surrounded by water. They're inland. You're going to see a lot more masculine men.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, I digress with that. She came to me and she goes, you know, my friends are all telling me that the dating scene here sucks. And my friends are all telling me that like there's no good men here and, all this stuff. And that's exactly it. If you listen to your friends, and I'll take it even a step further, if you listen to society,
Mm-hmm.
then you're going to have an awful dating life. But if
Mm-hmm.
you choose to take things into your own hands and go, no, 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 like I can actually have an amazing dating life and I need to listen to someone who's been there, who's done it. And I
Mm-hmm.
promise you, the people who have an incredible relationship, they've done a good job with dating, they
Mm-hmm.
will say something very different about the dating life,
Mm-hmm.
right?
I agree. Yeah. And again, also people come with their stuff
Yeah,
and their opinions and their prejudices and all, and just in the lack of knowledge.
yeah,
So,
yeah. Well, that's the biggest thing for sure.
mhm.
Yeah. And
Thank
everybody loves to give advice. Everybody
Everyone does
loves
lots of
to
advice.
give
And
advice.
again, people have good intentions. I don't think people are doing it to cause harm,
Hmm.
but that doesn't mean that they're not coming from a distorted view.
Yeah, yeah,
And
exactly.
that view is not helpful.
Exactly.
That's why they need you.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And when you help, because you do tell your story, when you help others, do they know that you went through this? Are you open about your?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm completely open with my clients, with anyone who wants to know, I'm open with it. I've got no hidden parts here.
Mhm. Is there anything that we haven't spoken about that you'd like to share?
Oh gosh, that's a good question. I mean, I feel like we're covering quite a bit with the a big part of what I coach on is that masculine and feminine dynamic, right?
Hmm.
And it's not a fit for everyone. It's not
Hmm.
a fit for everyone. And I primarily work with women who are seeking out more traditional relationships, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
They're looking for the man who wants to be that provider, protector, you
Hmm.
know, that whole shebang. And she might want to be kind of more of that homemaker, whatever that looks like. There's no right or wrong answer, but that's generally the kind of people that I work with.
Hmm.
And so I would say, like, if you're in that realm and you're
Hmm.
feeling like, oh man, there's no good men out there, right? Because I talk to so many women that are like, there's no good men out there anymore,
Hmm.
or men all suck, or men are passive, whatever it might be. Just know that there's actually so many incredible men out there. So,
Hmm.
so, so, so many, right?
Hmm.
And if you're feeling like there's no good men out there, there might be something to look under the hood.
Mm-hmm.
The case.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And the energy that you're putting out there, if that's
Yeah.
feeling, right?
Yeah. Well, and I always say too, like if you were to go on a date with a man and, you know, he was saying, "Oh, all women suck."
Hmm.
Like they suck. And, there's no good women out there anymore.
Right.
And, he's saying stuff like this. I
Yeah.
would be ending that date very quickly.
Right. You look, it almost comes across as a woman hater and
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And
There's,
I don't want to be
there's
on a
no
date with a man like that.
right.
Even if he's not saying those
Right.
specific words, you
Right.
can pick up on that energy. If he's
Hmm.
talking trash about his ex, if he's um
Hmm.
talking trash about women in any way, shape, or form, you can tell when a man is not a woman lover or doesn't respect women, right? And the same goes for when you go on a date with a man and you have this underlying belief, mistrust, or kind of man-hating energy.
Hmm.
Men pick up on it. They don't want to be with a woman
Yeah.
who doesn't like men,
Right.
right?
Yes. I would
Yeah.
think so.
So that's one of the big things that I work with my clients. And like a big part of what I was saying in the beginning is kind of stepping into that like delusional love for men because
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of like that. I don't know what the theory is called, the yellow car theory or something like that, where when you focus on the yellow car, you're going to see so many more yellow cars,
Yeah. So
right?
if you think all men are bad, you're gonna,
That's
yeah.
what you're going to see. You're going
Mm-hmm.
to see that. And so this is the only situation where I like the saying, fake it till you make it.
Mm-hmm.
You have to fake loving men
Mm-hmm.
till your mind actually believes that you love men.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you need to do because then you will start seeing the good men.
Mm-hmm. No, yes, I can see that to be true.
Yeah.
So what happens if you're working with somebody and you see the gentleman is not being a positive fit for that person or even potential for even narcissism or something like that? Do you tell them?
Oh, of course.
Hmm.
Of course. I my clients know this and I call myself to my clients the loving slap in the face that you need. I
Okay.
am not the coach that's gonna like walk on shelves and tell you what you want to hear.
Hmm.
Tell you what you need to hear, even though it's going to hurt sometimes
Hmm.
and it's going to be uncomfortable.
Hmm.
But that's where the growth happens.
Hmm. Yeah, good. I mean, okay, so if someone wants the type of relationship that you're talking about, the more traditional relationship that has been out there and has been attracting the wrong men and or choosing the wrong men or waiting to be chosen by the wrong men, they call you up, they
Yeah, so you can either reach out on Instagram. Generally, how it works is we'll book a consult call and kind of see if you're the right fit for me. Not everyone is the right fit to work with me.
hmm. Hmm.
So we'll do a free consultation call, see what blocks, what barriers, what patterns you've had in life, and see if you're the right fit for me.
Hmm.